Lake Cam is present. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. Okay. I'm trying to rush it. Just.
Absolutely.
Everyone had a chance to review the, well, those that were here. The Monday, December 17th meeting. Mike and Justin. Have you had a chance to review that or not?
I have, I'm trying to find, there was something in the first paragraph, so give me a second, I got
Sure, no problem.
I had a question on the part where I mentioned the building commissioner would need the keys to get into CPP.
Yes.
Did I mention that in the JPP one, or did it get misput?
No, it was, yeah, the conversation went from JPP into CPP.
Oh, okay.
We don't always flow in a linear line.
It looks like I just totally interrupted the. Oh, we're talking JPP, let me just put in my CPP.
It happens in
Maybe
our
it did.
conversations, you know. We just kind of throw stuff out there.
In the first paragraph there.
Oh, for the December one, yes?
Are we doing that one first?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, which one are we doing?
December.
December 3rd? Okay.
We were talking with Mr. Goyette from the, inquiring on the fee for the use of lights. Somewhere in here it says, I explained that fees are
Yes.
used for the lights.
Your fees are currently being reviewed.
That's
And
what we first.
Yeah,
The
that's,
law currently plays a prorated fee for the lights that is determined by use during the season. Separate meters at the fields help determine the use by the
I
groups.
guess that, anyway.
Okay.
I thought I read
something
that,
else.
that their fee that they pay is for the lights.
Oh, yeah, no, there was something else. In that paragraph, it said that Vice Chairman Nolan suggested provided, it should be providing Mr. Goyette with the contact for the current Women's Blue Cross.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm good.
I'm good with that. But
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting notes from December 17th, 2018 per the changes to the next instruction.
I'm second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Stay. To confirm. I don't know if you all had a chance to go over the floor ones or not.
This last meeting?
Yes.
Like page 2, Ted William Camp updates. Second sentence, this employee handles prepping the system for the winter each year at Ted Williams Camp, however, will not be returning, right?
Wait, where was that? What page is that?
Page 2, down the bottom.
On the bottom. Okay.
Under Ted Williams, TWC updates.
Robert is will
Was he
not be
able to
returning.
get the
And he will.
bunker rate moved?
His is not there.
Right.
Rate's gonna be moved last week before he leaves.
I just asked if it was the next sentence.
Yes, do you know?
It was the next sentence.
I don't need to ask, I just wanted to.
Yes.
figure it out.
I think this is just a head for more.
This is a meeting you were not at, Justin.
Correct.
So you sent your recommendations.
Yeah, just some numbers, yeah.
Yeah. Did you agree with what we, well, I guess.
I'll read it, that's why I'm.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly what you had, but.
No, I think the whole point, I won't read it now, but as long as we're covering some cost, I think it's fine, right? Better than zero.
We had a lot of back and forth discussion on that.
Took up a lot of time.
My general perspective is most of the teams that play here, that do the per person fee, pay 4 or 5, they pay so much more to pay the season. For us to increase our fees $5 to use the facility is not, it's not gonna put them out of business. Like it's a drop in the bucket. It's
No.
General.
But the whole premise is that we have to do it now, to
Right.
let them know, because a lot of them register in
Yeah, of
December.
course, yeah, of course, yeah.
So if they want to change their rates, they can.
Yep.
And I remember, I think it was the last time the rates got changed. Somebody complained because we changed the rates by $25. I said, no, the rate went up $5.
Right.
Well, the league told us it went up 25.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they increased to 25 and blamed it on the board.
I did notice, also voted to increase, the last vote was to increase the flat fee charge to AAU and club teams
Yep.
from 6 to 9. Right after that, it says, until the other fertilizer fee can be established, the fee increases for the 2020 season will not be officially communicated. I'm not sure, did we actually have that?
Yep. We said we weren't gonna give out an official level, let's say, until we figured out the fertilizer fee.
Okay, so how are people gonna start there? We, like Scott just said, people start.
But we have an average of the fertilizer fees in the last 2 years, so we know about what it's gonna be. It's not perfect, but it's.
The conversation was, how are we going to apply that across the board to the different groups?
Correct. So it's per, is it in here? It's $20 per player in 2020, makes sense, right? I'm not looking at numbers.
We also decided to assess a flat fee per group.
Per every group?
Yeah.
Okay.
To help recoup some fertilizing fees.
Except for like horseshoes and volleyball.
So if I'm lacrosse, let's say, and it's $20 a person, and then there'll be an additional fee on top of that?
Right, and the conversation was is what's going to be a fair and equitable. Obviously, lacrosse uses one field.
What's the, I don't want to start a 25-minute discussion, but what's the logic? Because, not the numbers obviously, but I think the way the math worked, it was even. If you did $5 a person and then it was, maybe there's less per the AAU teams, is that what it was? If you applied all those numbers, it was the same percentage
Was it
increase.
like a 33% increase? I
Yeah,
think
just
that's-
across the board, and it just applies differently to different teams, because you pay a flat rate or you pay whatever, but that would cover the cost no matter what.
Of the
We're
first.
not done with it, so like, in theory, like across.
But it wasn't going to cover the cost of the fertilizer. The $5 increase wasn't going to cover the cost of the fertilizer.
Okay, so this is.
It covers the cost of the lost revenue from Lakeville Haunted House.
It covered about $7,000, which is part
Oh,
of
right, okay, that's what it was, because it was, the jump was too much.
It's a twofold thing. We're losing
Yeah,
the haunted house and the increase in the fertilization cost.
No, I get it.
The conversation we also had is back 7-8 years ago, each group used to pay for their fertilizer or a portion of it. And for some reason, somehow, it's got away from that and the boards absorbed it. Well, now we're taking a hit and
Yeah,
can't afford a kid.
I get it.
So the discussion was that somehow we were gonna come up with a square foot or some type of allocation to assess some. We weren't gonna try and get it all, but that there was, we were gonna try and recoup some.
The way you can do it, or I can do it too, is you take, so So the increase, the team fee increase is gonna minimize that cost a little bit, correct?
Correct.
So I can do the math, whatever that is. So now there's a delta of, I don't know, whatever, $5,000, right? Whatever it is that's missing, right? So far, so good. Then you can divide the number, let's just assume all the fields are about the same size. Outfield with a baseball diamond, soccer field, lacrosse field, what's it, football field, right? And you just basically kind of pseudo count how many fields there are, and then divide it by that number.
Right, that was, we were just, the discussion was to come up with something. Great, great. If you
And
want,
there'll be some sort of, and we'll look at the number, if it's $800, like, okay, that's not fair, but.
and that's what we're talking about, it's not fair to, obviously we can't assess on it, because there's a lot of area that's open area that gets fertilized also, you know, so it's not fair to assess.
No, I think,
But typically,
not,
fees
we're
are
off the subject of the note, the
Right.
notes here, but if we get back to this, I wonder if we should research, go back to the way, like you said, we were before. Because I can remember like running soccer and Mike would come to us and say, okay, I had the guy come down, it's gonna cost $2,500 to fertilize and grow the soccer fields. Do you want us to get it?
Great.
I think the challenge is that most teams, like you, so lacrosse is a good example, you've been working with the lacrosse board a little bit, and it's not there's two different ways of running this. There's we just do fundraisers and there's crazy money and it's not a problem, right? That's one way, and then lacrosse is much more like, how many square feet per person do I get for playing? Like, just metrics that may or may not be just another way to look at it. So we just have to give them some number, so they can A, budget for it, and then B, go look at the cost per person. That's it. The longer we wait, the more what's gonna happen is to be like, whoa, we didn't budget for that, so.
Well, that's just it, I mean,
$800 to one club may be a lot, $800 to another club, maybe not.
we spent considerable time discussing that, and we didn't have the time to come up with that calculation.
So why don't I come up with some calculations based on, again, it's not the whole fertilizer cost,
No.
because some of it's already being absorbed, right? So it shouldn't be a ton. And honestly, my perspective is that even if we don't cover 100% of the cost, it's better, it's a step. Maybe next year we do another one.
And that was the
Okay, something that seems fair, get a little money back, but it's,
Exactly.
gets us closer.
Exactly, it gets us closer, there you go, that's the term.
All right, I got
Okay, any other questions on the notes,
you. Nope. Sorry.
minutes?
Maybe we accept the minutes from November 4th. With that one little correction.
A second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Oh, you. And look at bills.
Yeah.
On the bills,
Yes.
in my review, while we're getting ready to do the bills, when I was going through these multiple years,
Yes.
one thing that, again, I'm bringing this back up, and I got a problem here. Wireless bill. August, September, October.
I think it's the date,
But
Is
what
the
nu-
bill
whose
date?
number is this?
but it's
It's not the number Doug uses.
it's not.
No,
Let me see.
6196?
It's the account number, which is not the phone number.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
This is one signature for both.
Yes.
All right, so that was just a comment. So as we're reviewing the bills, we'll continue on.
Yes, because we also have credit for,
We'll
the
read
wireless.
No, it's recent. Hold on.
But it's not, posted here yet.
Okay.
It came not that long ago.
Because the prior year was even worse. It was all over the place.
Yeah, I did.
There was big amounts, there was small amounts, there was a credit.
Yes, I think that was the year we got this grant of credit.
This one, it was a $93 bill. But the thing I'm getting, April, May, we shouldn't be paying bills April, May, and June.
No.
We weren't using it.
Yeah, that's too early.
That's what, you know, I mean, I want to look at it, just because sometimes I'm not. To adequately do this allocation of put on expenses, we'll need to go through electric, if there's any electric.
There it is.
I threw in some numbers.
There's 2 bills that are jointly prepared on.
Yeah. Is there, what about telephones or telephone? No? Great. Okay, I'll keep it on this track. This is,
Okay, yeah, so here it is, $36.66, we have a credit for the last one. So that's the phone number, that's the phone number he uses, right? 774 number.
yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that's it. This was one that wasn't paid, and the Home Depot one, she found it and gave it to me.
What are our fees? What,
Oh, it's behind, I'm sorry. Because that's usually the total, that's the breakdown. I didn't fit all on page.
well, that's for stuff for quick longer.
I think that is the case, yeah.
I didn't say that, I don't want to make sure it's steel, you post me. This whole page is that?
Yes. That's all one page.
I remember getting the room, the world, waste baskets, dustpan, hand sanitizers, yeah.
Pardon me.
3-foot 14 gauge steel U-post medians. Okay, so, how about if, we go on, bless you.
Thank you.
Scott, can I bring us back to the meeting minutes? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To point out something, at the end of the November meeting minutes, we did have a motion on the floor, but it wasn't completed. So I think we need to redo it.
Okay,
There was no second and there was no vote, so I just wanted to. It was,
to buy some locks,
yeah, it was started by Mike to approve the purchase of locks up to $250, but it just never completed because we're trying to hold up the meeting.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor made by Mr. Nolan to approve the purchase of some more padlocks up to a cost of $250. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Any further discussion? I'll bring it up, just to enlighten Justin was here. In course of being on the premises here, in dealing with the bathrooms out here and trying to get the doors and the lights and the whole thing, all these electric boxes that we see here, they're not locked at all, none of them. And they have a spot for padlocks. So that was one thing I was gonna buy, and we do need a couple of other padlocks. So that was why I brought that up, about getting some more padlocks. And that was the reason for that.
Makes sense.
I meant to try and do it today, but I was busy with the budget information. So we have a second on the floor. All those in favor? Aye. So moved. Okay, so we've got SEM Long Pond, Lunar Pond Lodge updates.
Yes, so you have the recent payment breakdown, sorry, it's a little bit light, it scans in color, and then I print it. But that is the recent breakdown, that is the end of October, that kind of wraps it up. Oh, yes, sorry. Thank you.
Whatever that.
You do have it?
Yeah, no, yeah, the minutes. Just one that was corrected.
It is, yes.
Make a motion that we approve for knowledge guess it's homework for.
It's not,
Where is it?
I know, I tried to darken it on the copy machine, it's,
It's in back of the minutes. It's in back of the minutes.
yeah, it's behind the minutes.
Where'd you go? What's the second?
Yeah, see how mine it is?
When it scans it in color and they do a light blue for the little tally columns. But I need to scan it in black and white, it'll pop up.
So-
Sorry about that.
I have a question. Including the venue fee is the fee we're collecting, if included here with the cleaning fee? That's the cleaning
For the
fee?
venue, yeah,
Well, I mean, I see it separate.
yeah, venue and cleaning, right now go together under hall rentals. Both.
Okay, because we do have a line item for cleaning fees.
That's to pay out to Clean Right, because it's an expense, not an income.
Okay, it's listed here as an income.
That one's an income.
We have an income account.
Where?
All cleaning fee. We did that last year, last budget. Created an expense account and an income account. Okay, so we put bar sales, caterers, okay. Does anybody have any questions about the recap sheet?
For SCM? No.
Yes.
I can talk to you and I need some more information.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll break it down. Behind that, I gave you the calendar, ending November, which we're already into, and then for December as well. As you can see, we're starting to slow down in December per our usual.
Oh, who is that? That's Joe Caution. Oh, good, but
It's Joe. That one is just for the stuff for the bathroom unit and jump for the winterization.
yeah, no, yeah, no problem. I'm looking at the name and I'm going, DaCosta? Who's that?
Wait, what?
I just looked at it real quick and
Oh.
I'm going, who the heck is that?
We're still on recent payments, right? Yes.
Oh, we just moved from.
Okay.
What's that? Okay.
I'm just
Oh,
trying.
the recent payment.
I was reading something, sorry.
That's what we're just
I
talking
was
about.
saying that you have the calendar for November and December
Yeah.
for your review. We're slowing down. Got it.
I don't remember that. What's it?
On the detail, it doesn't come up. That account doesn't come up.
Oh, it's on the budget. It's on the budget.
Yeah, it's not on the summary either.
Oh, this was the budget that was accepted.
And we put, yeah, we put it in.
Right, because it was skewing this, because there's,
Right, yeah, it was.
well, I said, I wrote that in there because nothing's being posted to it. So my assumption was that it was being included in the hall because the hall rental was up.
It didn't get created.
Because there were two. There was an expense account and an income
Right,
account.
which is what we wanted to do, because we wanted to have them both basically equal each other.
Yeah. You gotta be able to know what we're tracking here.
See, that's why I was having to go in there, because it didn't come up. I'll double check.
Okay. Everybody all set with the recap sheet? The income?
Yep.
Yep, good. Okay. So, we have nothing this month, except for the BNI.
Yeah,
Just curious about it,
yeah, really slow down. We missed a couple of things in December. 2 fairs, little crap fairs.
yeah. You know,
That's really about
I mentioned it to Nikki, about having a party night. We did it, what was that, probably 3-4 years ago, Mike? We had,
Well, no, it was, I saw my company
right, we were still, what it was,
6 years ago, probably.
6 years ago, it was that many years ago. Was to, have a place for small businesses to have their Christmas party. And the year we did it, it was the first year we did it, and we needed like 53 people to break even. And I think we got 50. I was ecstatic, We had a great time, we had a meal, you know,
Yeah.
DJ, and it was the first year, we were like, you know, $150 short of breaking even. It was a pretty good deal. And I mentioned it to Nikki, but I haven't heard anymore. You know, I mean, you need to get it out there, you need to get it out there like a month ago.
I think
A
it's
long time, yeah, even more than that, like October.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I noticed is because we were contacted at our office by the place where we had our Christmas party, you know, about coming back, you know, because like the one over in Assonet does it, you know, Independence Harbor, I've been there.
I think it's a good discussion with SEM, and it's, for me, it's more of an overall revenue discussion, like,
Yeah.
we need this kind of revenue.
Yeah,
Where's, I mean, it's kind of on them, but I think it's also on us as their contract holder to expect a certain amount of revenue to come in.
yeah. But anyhow,
What did the bar make up that 150, or was that including the bar that?
I think at the end of the night, I mean, you know, we needed, you know, with the DJ rental and the food and what we came up with a price for food and the whole thing, you know, we're anticipating, hoping to get some. I mean, we had a few people from town hall, the selectmen had a table, Mike had a table, we had a table of board members that came, you know, wasn't the full thing, but we had some. You know, there were other businesses, a couple other businesses that came, and for something that got thrown together like middle of November,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it came off pretty good. And I mentioned it, but I mentioned it last year too, so anyhow.
Can you put it on agenda for next October?
Yeah, well, let's just hit it, you know, probably the 1st of October, you know. Okay, Open Space Committee meeting, Mr. Jesse M.
Yeah, Lorraine approached me about moving our meetings here. She said that we had already offered up this space. Did we ever?
The board never voted.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
That's what she was under the impression. I said, well, I'll bring it up at our next meeting.
No, the last time I brought it up at a board meeting, I got shut down.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I brought it up to a lot of groups to come in, and what we got was somebody who wanted to come in and set stuff up and leave it up all the time. I don't know, I can't remember what group it was, and we're like, can't do that. You know, you rent the place out. We said, you know, might be able to help you with the office, and they're like, oh, no, we can't use the office. So that's about where it went, and that's about where
Wait, so the open space committee wants to have it here? That's the question?
Well, town hall wants open space committee to have it here.
Okay.
So I said I'd ask.
Sure.
Because they were under the impression that we offered up this space too, and I didn't think we did.
no,
Well, we talked about
we talked about it.
There's also a discussion on when they use it for billable time. Like we give away it's in the contract, like 2 Christmas parties or something like that too, right?
It's in here, but it's,
it. Yeah, looking right at it.
yeah, there's only a couple, you know, elections and, holiday party or something like that.
Yeah.
So the space we did offer up was the office, but because it's not ADA, that got shut down, right?
Well, that, and they wanted to come in here and leave their stuff up permanently, you know,
Right.
so that was
Who was
not,
that?
I can't remember who it
Was
was.
it Lake Cam?
No, it was
One
more
way Lake Cam wanted to use this as a base of operations.
Oh, that's before me.
Yeah,
What happened before the library, they moved in there then?
yeah, this was a while ago.
Yeah.
The other discussion I remember is that we talked about the fact that, yeah, that's fine, but if we have someone that wants to rent it,
Right. Always.
we're going to have to take the rental. And I think that becomes a problem if you host a meeting and then you have a rental. That was
Almost
the only,
any-
I thought that was the only sticking point that I have, otherwise I
Do you know the
think
dates they
we
want
want to.
It's the first Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m.
It's a big compliment.
Shouldn't be.
It definitely sets a slippery slope precedent because everyone's going to want to do it, but I think, you know,
Well,
and then coming in, locking up all that stuff too.
and when we do get the alarm going, it's now going to be another. At present, Jesse's the, He's the chairman of the
Right.
open space committee, so he does know the routine and would know the codes and to get in here.
Well, you can give the vendor code,
Yeah.
change the vendor code all the time. It's not a case where they're gonna have to clean up after themselves.
No, and
Basically, you're talking about this type of meeting,
I
right?
think it's just a case-by-case basis, because there could be a million exceptions.
absolutely, and it was asked of me, and I said I would try to bring it back up before the board to see how they felt. I never told anyone at town hall that it was a done deal. So I think that was misconstrued.
Because we're also going to touch base with SEM, and they actually sent me some suggested guidelines if we were going to open the building for meetings. Because they wanted to make sure that things are clean,
Yeah,
that they can rent it no matter what. And if they're scheduled to do something like a building tour, no meeting, if it's already scheduled. Stuff like that.
if it's already scheduled, but if it's not already scheduled.
If it's not, they can
They need
push.
to move around, they would need to move around.
The only thing is if we have someone wanting to come in to rent and actually pay for the building.
But they can't trump it, right? So, well, I guess, well, how long do you have to post? 2 days?
48
hours.
business hours, yeah.
So, yeah, so like, let's say they said, what is it, the first Wednesday of every month? And then someone ranked it and said, I'm gonna do March 2021, first Wednesday. of the month.
Right, you're gonna know that in plenty of.
Right, to make it turn around, there's no problem.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to come, you mentioned like if somebody wants to come and look at the place, we can tell SEM, you look on Wednesdays.
They can plan.
There's gonna be a meeting here, don't have people come down and look at it.
Right.
Or tell people, let them know that they can look at other parts because there's gonna be a meeting for
It's
them.
no different than the businesses that come in the morning.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I think, I mean, this is a town building, you know? And
It is, but
What are
we
the
don't want to stop their business either, because
Hmm?
they're supposed to be renting it too.
They're not
Right,
So,
I would never schedule anything on the weekends, I would not let any groups come in on the weekends.
right, exactly.
And on Wednesday night, when was the last time this place was rented on a Wednesday night?
This is true, but can it happen? It can.
Well,
But then it's far enough in advance that, okay, it's not Wednesday this month, it's Tuesday this month, or
Well, yeah,
whatever.
but it's also far enough in advance that they can say, okay, why don't you rent it on the second Tuesday, or the third Tuesday, or the
Right,
fourth
always,
Tuesday?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they know that this group's gonna be in here the first Wednesday of every month, then,
But either way, they're both fun.
Yeah, if there's something where money can be made, I mean, yeah, the meeting can be moved.
Right.
right, but if they know in advance, is it that hard and that fast that it has to be the first Wednesday that they have to rent it? I'm just saying, I mean, the only thing that comes up quick like that.
Street, so like, let's say they said it has to be that way because of whatever, and then they're like, fine,
Right.
let's talk to the committee, no.
The only time something comes up that quick, you know, might be a bereavement, but most bereavements are during the morning or during the afternoon.
Yeah.
They're not a nighttime event.
Yep.
So,
I'd like to point out that one of the main reason that we, way back, decided to maintain control of this rather than just, you know, I know there's certain entities in town that were willing to take over the whole thing. And we decided to keep control over it and use a management team. And, you know, keeping us being the last person, the last word over it, to use it. And the main reason was so that town and, you know, municipal things could be done here. You know, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, meetings for coaches, town meetings.
Yeah.
That was one of the main reasons we wanted to maintain control of this, and give the whole thing away.
what do they have for a proposed?
Guidelines?
Yeah.
So CW room only, which we did discuss the last time we touched on it, just to keep the meetings to the CW room. Other paid events can be booked in the dining room and the lounge during the meeting.
Yep.
Town meeting, the meeting time and space must be communicated directly to SEM and must be confirmed by SEM as well.
Fine.
Last minute paid rental will take precedence over a scheduled meeting. 24-hour cancellation notice will be sent to meeting coordinator. Now, the only problem with that is meeting laws.
Right.
And you have to post at 48, but I think you could change the venue 24, but that's business hours. And if it changes at 6 PM,
I just make it 48.
Exactly, that's what I was just gonna say.
yeah, it can get, if.
So you get 48 to give
it
yourself.
To me, that's gotta be 48, because that's when you're posting it. You know, I mean, that way they know before they post it, if
There's no reason they can't work on 48.
Yeah,
Right, and for
Okay, well-
posting purposes, and I think it has to be. So they were also, we were talking about, because we didn't know what groups would be coming in for meetings, we were talking about how to block out the rest of the building, leaving only the CW room accessible, and not have people wander.
Why don't we just do it on a case-by-case basis, because we have someone that actually knows what they're doing,
right,
and see how it goes, and before we open up to every single
right.
committee.
And maybe we use this as a test case and see how it goes.
So rooms to be set up by meeting participants and returned to original position. So a lot of times they're already set up for something the next day,
Yeah.
so it's gotta get put back the same way.
Right, if you have a meeting on Wednesday, it's probably set up, they have B&I on Friday mornings.
Right, so they're probably already set. Trash must be emptied and placed in the dumpster. Must be cleaned by 6 AM the following morning. Access only to the CW room, foyer, and the bathrooms. And then coming up with a way to kind of block off the rest. No outside food per Board of Health would have to be instilled.
I have a question.
Yes.
What does B&I provide them?
Coffee. As far as I know.
That sounds like food. Okay. Oh, I'm just saying, I mean, you know, you want to provide some drinks,
Tickets still?
anyhow, okay, so, I think that needs some tweaking. I
Seems reasonable.
you know, I don't see anything in there that's outrageous, but definitely some tweaking, and, can you live with it?
Oh yeah, I can live with that. It's simple because we have a real simple 1 hour meeting, you know, in and out.
Where are you currently meeting now?
COA. So, it's just a matter of setting up and putting it back away. Because Lake Cam likes to set the tables in their way, you know, just put it back afterwards. And I'd stick around to make sure everything was the way it was when.
Should we vote on it? Yep. I'll make a motion to allow Open Spaces Committee, and only the Open Spaces Committee, to use the hall, CW, per the agreement changes. What we just discussed, meeting 48 hours, et cetera. Is that enough?
Second, further discussion?
Such a lot.
So we'll make changes to this.
Yes, I think the biggest
Provide to both parties.
Yeah, I think the biggest one was 48 hours.
Yep.
Just due to
And-
postings.
And
Oh, the only one I missed was no SEM hours will be incurred for building access monitoring, furniture moving, or cleaning.
no, because we have a board member.
Exactly.
A Parks member, there's also the board member.
Right, so easy enough
So
to
we
get access.
need to tweak that.
Yep.
We'll need to add a phone number and an email address. I'm just saying, should another group use it, we can use the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, when you were talking
for the-
higher up, when you were talking about.
Like direct access with them.
What you said,
Time and space.
communicate directly to CM,
Yeah.
right, so we need a
Yep.
phone number and an email address.
Yep.
So that communication is,
Exactly,
so,
exactly.
we can work with this, just make some changes okay. All those in favor?
No discussion? That was discussion.
No discussion.
Yeah, I think just the whole point for the discussion record is that it's, let's say it's a pilot, right? See how it goes.
Yep.
And then we can probably open up the other ones, but.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Yeah, I have it. Okay, Jesse.
We'll be ready for December 4th. I can do it then.
Yep.
All right.
Any other updates? Mike, do you have anything else?
Yeah.
All right.
Came by, one night last week, lights were on in here, in the foyer, in the outer foyer, the kitchen. Came in to see what was going on. There was nobody here. Thermostats were all over the place. One of them was at 70, the other one was at 18.
Yeah.
Oh, that is Celsius, by the way. We don't know why. And tried to find out what happened. SCM said that they shut everything off before they left. Our employees said they weren't here at all. So the mystery elves came in and turned the lights on.
I can find out access to the building.
Yeah, let's see who opened the closed door.
Yeah.
It won't necessarily be a code guy.
No,
Okay.
but it would, trigger.
Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, I know.
And stuff.
You would know. You know
Oh,
what?
no,
It was,
yeah.
Nellie, it was either Wednesday or Thursday, I would say.
It was the cold, it was
Oh, no, no, it was the day.
the night after, the night after the cold day. What was the cold day?
No, it was the day after the day I worked with Mike.
Right.
Too, and that was Tuesday, so it was Wednesday.
So it was what? Wednesday night?
Wednesday, yeah, well, evening, I mean, it
Wednesday
was like
evening.
4:30, it was dark.
Okay, so Wednesday
So
evening.
nobody's fessing up to it, but, as in checking it out and stuff, I realized we were gonna have to do something with that thermostat in there. It's on Celsius, you can't change it back. So I think we need to call the HVAC person in.
Where do we exist?
It's changed. It wasn't 32, now it's set at 21.
Yeah, so
I came in here tonight, they were all set on 60. That's a little low.
anyway,
Go ahead.
and if you notice, all of the plastic covers are broken off.
Yep.
So the idea of that is so people can't come in and do that.
Correct.
So I'd like to get someone in
Were
here.
they broken before?
Over the course of the last year or so, I'd say, I think we have one in the Cassidy Warburton room, and I was talking to Nikki.
Right.
I said, "Do you have a key for it?" She goes, "Yeah."
It moves it and get adjusted, so.
Pulled it right off without a key. I'm like, ridiculous. So, anyway, so that needs some work, especially before we get into the cold weather.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Okay, after our discussion here, I happened to be talking to Nate, I had some questions for Nate. He currently monitors the other town buildings in town. And he has it, programs are set.
Yeah.
If a building goes down below a certain thing, he gets an email and can find out why. We can pre-program them. We may have to get new thermostats. But the other thing he said was, so if it's set to go down to 65, or 64, whatever we decide, and someone comes in and it's cold and they bump it up, it only bumps up for an hour and then it goes back. So it's automatic, so it says, huh? I'm not sure which one he didn't say, but it's probably something like that.
Especially with all the town.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
And it goes right to his, so he's kind of, and that is his title. He is the building superintendent of all the town's buildings. So we can take that discussion further and talk to him, and he can do that, and then he'll get the message, and, all of them will be.
I'll give him a call tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, also, as far as SCM goes, the last meeting, we spoke about the triathlon for next year, 2020. We went round and round, we came up with a price for him. The bill hadn't been sent to Mark. When I talked to them, they did send a bill to Mark and added a few things, I think, about parking. So I called Mark. I said, look, you guys have, let me talk to Mark directly, because he negotiated this with the park commission, not SEM. So I spoke to Mark, and he actually sent me a Google picture of where he would like to park. for, you know, where he's gonna put everything, which is good, as we discussed. But we had said no parking in this paved parking lot here, or the gravel one in front of the tennis courts. And he said, well, when do you need me to not park over there? What time? And I said, geez, I don't know, I mean, when is a wedding, you know? So I said, I didn't have a problem with him parking there until like noontime. And I talked to Scott, he didn't have a problem with it either. So I said I would bring it to the board and see if that was okay. In the meantime, he sent a thing to SEM saying that I said it was okay for him to park there. Then SEM says a nasty thing back. And I'm like, what's going on? What do you guys don't understand? We're going to discuss it today and let you know. So I'm just trying to leave out all the peripheral stuff. They sent something to Nellie.
Yeah, we'll just make a decision and go with it.
Yeah. So the question is,
What time's the wedding?
what time's the wedding? They have the hall rented as of 1 o'clock. So 1 o'clock is when they're gonna come and set up. I don't know if that means a 2 o'clock wedding or a 4 o'clock wedding or what. And last time I ever talked to Nikki, she said the bride hadn't given her time yet.
So to me, it sounds like if I'm the person renting the hall, the parking lot goes with the hall. So whatever that 1 o'clock.
And that's what we had originally said, he couldn't park there, and
After
then,
1.
Well, they're telling him he can't park there for the whole day.
Well, we can say after 1, because there's no reason.
Before
6 a.m., who cares, right?
Yeah.
great, and that's when they're gonna be here.
So like anything, they have the hall at 1, they get the parking lot at 1. Pretty easy, right?
I thought it was pretty easy like that.
So on it. Stone that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd like to make a motion that we allow them to park in those parking lots. Not any of their equipment, just cars for the event until 1 o'clock.
Second.
So we need to put up something that if you park in this lot, you must be out of here by 1 o'clock.
You can do that.
Yeah, he's the most responsible guy I know who's telling.
I'm not worried about him, I'm saying put up something so that people that park in there understand that they have to move their car.
But he's kind of running the whole thing now, right?
Yep,
But he's gonna be busy.
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah.
That's fine.
But actually, they're pretty much done by that time on Saturday anyhow.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody's out of here.
Yep.
It's Sunday's the big day where they have the meal and entertainment.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the thing, as we talked about last meeting, it's in the notes, we're gonna have to kind of oversee that.
Yeah.
Make sure that we're there
Yep.
and it's gonna be, tight situation and I know.
We mean it on the day, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure
that
that stuff you want me
when
to.
they get out of the water, all that stuff gets moved out of there, all the,
You want to do the triathlon
I
and
do.
work it afterwards.
No, I'm just, you kind of like, you're here, right? So you see something that shouldn't be, and you can,
Right.
it's not while you're actually doing it, but before, after, whatever.
I missed that. What?
I'm gonna be doing it, so.
Oh.
Didn't
So
share.
I'll leave it open until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
You're right, though, it's pretty fast, you're kind of out of here pretty fast, so starts early.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's out of the water by 9.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you go off at 8,
Yeah.
in the past it went off at 7.
Yep.
They went off at 8 this year because of the Triple-E.
Yep.
But if they're able to go off at 7, they're out of the water by 8.
Yep.
They're done, and you gotta be done by a certain time, or you can't do the next leg anyhow.
Yep.
So each leg, say you take
Takes 30
an hour and a
minutes
half
to
to
max.
swim,
30
you figure you're out of it anyway.
Most of it done 45 minutes, but
Yeah.
there's maybe a couple stragglers in an hour, but I mean, everybody's done in an hour, so things will be able to be moved,
Yeah.
Yeah.
while everyone's going out on the bike,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're even the slow people are done, and most of them are out of here by 1 o'clock. I mean, the place is like,
Yeah.
well, there was an event here today? So, I think if we're not participating, if we can be around for a couple hours and help move some stuff here, I mean, it'll just expedite everything and make it a lot easier.
Right.
And it's not even gonna take that.
And just to make some signs that says, if you park here, you must be out of here by any time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Okay, I will send an email to Mark and CC Nikki. Nikki's in charge, right, not Lori?
Lori does a lot of the paperwork and such.
Nikki's
usually
Nikki's
responds.
the boss, right?
Yes.
Okay. I will send it to Mark and Nikki, saying that that was our decision.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Not to me.
All right. Ten Waynescape updates. Triple E is done. And I got the email and I forwarded it to everybody from the Board of Health. I would think they're done.
Yep.
Okay, any other updates for Ten Waynescape?
Yep. I spent that day with Mike.
Oh, that's right.
Tuesday, clearing out all the systems. We worked with a fella came down from the highway department, which is something we're gonna have to negotiate going forward because we don't have a compressor big enough to blow out the system. So he came down with a big toe behind compressor. We blew out all of the soccer fields. We blew out all the way down to the access point for the library. So the library, they have it set up so that the line goes out almost to the back of the library, and then there's a joint there. We blew it out to there, and what will happen is the libraries, I hope it's already happened, but the libraries company that does that for them will blow it out from there. And then we did all of the smaller ones from the smaller, the shed there, the smaller pump that does the office building and these outside bathrooms and the spigots at the maintenance building. It also does some of the infields.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was field 6.
Mhm.
So 4,
It does,
5.
it does, I think the only one that's on the big system is the major Little League
Right,
Field 3.
right.
The rest of them are all on the small.
Right. So that took, quite a while. And I took notes and I will put it in, I'll write it down on like a how to do type
Yeah,
thing.
good.
But I'll also put it electronically and send it to you, Nellie, so you have it for future commissioners. Something, what else did I have for 10 weeks? Nothing pressing, a few things Linda came up to me about, but it's not worth pulling up right now.
Okay, good. Sports season, 2020 field fees,
Talked about it, right?
pretty much talked about that.
I do have one question. So I
Yep.
can count the number of baseball fields. I can count, so it's baseball, pretty much baseball, soccer, lacrosse. Anybody else uses the fields, football.
Football.
Okay. But how many soccer fields are there?
There's 4.
Okay.
About 4 acres of grass over there.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to use it that way.
We're just gonna go with fields.
Okay.
And then it's kind of like 4 fields,
Yeah, the new
This
fields.
team uses these 2 fields. I'm gonna go by possible field usage.
Right, so,
Yeah, it'd be good to include that in some, we could figure that out some way.
Yeah,
right.
I just want to know how to soccer.
I'm just trying to remember, I don't have it with me, soccer, football, baseball,
Softball,
and then there was softball,
right?
men's softball.
Well, I have the list from now.
Yep, and then there was
Yeah, I can figure it out.
lacrosse, it was just 1 field.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically,
Well, that
I got laid
has never been fertilized. So it might not,
no, but it's field
It'd be
5.
nice.
It's field 5, so it could, it should be. right?
Yeah.
it should be, but it might not. It's some of the best grass out there, but.
No, but I think the way to look at it is that you just take the number of teams, right? How many possible fields they could use,
Right.
because based on size and what they're allowed or not allowed to do. And then you kind of just get a rough number and you play around with it so that you're not double dipping, so football's not paying and AAU and baseball is paying, they're all paying for the same field, you know what I mean?
Right, split it up.
Right, let's split that, right.
Yeah.
Because football practices 3 spots, but not necessarily 3 fields.
Basically, you think about it as a certain amount of money, you divide it up based on the number of fields evenly, right? So there's like a certain amount per field, some ballpark of the delta. You say, okay, we use this field 1, 3 teams use it, divide that by 3. We use this field 5, 1 team uses it, they pay for that.
Yeah, I believe in our discussions of last month, we decided one of the reasons we raised the AAU higher
Was we weren't gonna include
was
it.
we weren't going to include them in the fertilizer.
Okay.
We'd include their fertilizer fee. Because it went from 6 to 9.
Okay.
Went up,
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the percentage of what that is, but I mean, I know the percentage is 6 to 9, but yeah. That's fine. So it's your only teams that pay per person.
Right, yeah,
All right,
Yeah.
all set. That is-
okay. Good with that, we'll move forward, John Pond Park.
Yes, so Commissioner Costa could not make it tonight, but he did state that the bathroom is winterized. It's all set, everything's out from the system. The last pump occurred, you have that bill that we just signed. The only thing he's waiting for is he's waiting for quotes on a cover,
Yep,
so then you can move with that. But everything else is all tidied up. The only other question he had was moving the belt corridor, which we already mentioned.
Hey, sorry, one more thing on the sports fields.
Yep.
Just really quick. Did the rotation of the football help?
I haven't been out there to look. I mean, there was, I saw one team that played in here in the field 6 area, and then one day they were over in the center field. The third team, I never saw them, so I'm assuming they were
They
down.
went down behind third,
Yeah.
in field 3. I mean,
We don't use it, so
Yeah.
whatever they did to it.
that was beat up, but that's okay. It's-
But my point is that was there a noticeable, because part of the problem is last year was trash.
Right. I guess one would have to check the right field of field 1, because that team practiced there all the time.
Isn't it too late in the season to tell them?
Well, you can go out there and see if it's beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't move around.
What field was it?
The all-purpose field where the men play softball, if you come up the right field,
Would you say one?
one,
Yeah.
the big one here, where we get the outfield fence,
Yeah.
if you come down the right field line,
Yeah.
that's where they practiced tonight. They were there all, they never moved.
Yeah, and if you look, there's also a younger team that you always used out behind field 2.
Yeah.
Like you go in the baseball parking lot, go straight through there and take a right.
Yeah.
And that got beat up really bad. But
Yeah.
But when it's not a field, it's not like they're using the outfield of that Little League field, so, I mean,
no,
yeah, no, that's,
They were super agreeable, so I just wanted to.
yeah, no,
If we
circle
can
back.
get them to use more of that outside
Yep,
of the fields area, because that was just right there. That was like the right field. If they could use the left field and then like out behind
Well,
field 3.
you saw the back and forth, right? So little kids, whatever, just throw them in any random spot and fine.
Yeah.
But when you get, I guess, to either a certain coach or a certain level, they want to see it lined, they want to see it makes sense, right? To have it more structured. So maybe what we can end up doing next year is finding a space to line from it. That's where we want it to be.
yeah, well, you used to line field 2 until they put the fence up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
To answer your question though, I would say yes.
Just a little bit
It did
better.
make a difference.
All right.
Yeah. I would say that.
Yeah, I haven't gone out there and looked, but, just in the assumption. The only other thing is, if you're gonna talk to them, maybe if you could have the tackling dummies and the things here pushed back over there.
Before winter.
Yeah, so they're not left out here.
Yeah, right out in the middle of the function area.
Yeah, they're right out here in the middle, so if we could get them to push it back towards the maintenance building,
Yeah,
that would be great.
yeah.
That would be great.
All right.
Yes, speaking of fields like that, I requested that the soccer
Yeah.
take all the nets and put them out along the, you notice that did that, and I asked them to take all that. When we're trying to fix that field, UA field,
Yeah.
they put up like a fence around it, like an orange fence, and it kind of immediately fell down. And so that was there all season, but they took that out of there too, so
Yeah,
we may be able
They
to.
just put the nets in the woods?
they push them up against the fence, all the way around. They're up against the fence, the outside fence.
Yeah, what fence? So gives us.
There's a fence that goes all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
So it gives us room to work on the fields.
Yeah, the lacrosse is probably there too still, actually. I'll move those. Okay, sorry.
No, that's fine, that's fine, that's
Okay,
fine.
guys.
I tell you also, we go back to JPP, I did come down here, you got those, remember those pegs that we took out?
Yeah.
Took those, got those out, put them on the thing, and was able to get the ramp up. All nice and tight.
Good.
Doing a nice job.
Yep, yeah, no,
I
yeah.
hope we did it all right, because it's been a while since I've been on our but what we did is he had that pump thing,
Yep,
and he pumped it, and I flushed until,
until you start coming out.
yeah, and
Turn
then
on the water
he pumped
spigots.
it, and I turned on the water, okay, that's the way you do it.
Yep, I mean, there's two schools. One is you fill the entire line, that can be expensive,
Yeah,
if you fill everything. And I mean, there's no need to.
yeah,
You know, I mean, the way I do mine is I blow it out with air, and then I pump that into it, and I open up all the spigots,
yeah.
and I dump it in all the drain, you know, so I mean, there's fertilizer, there's
Winterizer.
winterizer in all of my joints.
Okay.
I just don't, I mean, if I filled it up, it would, you know, be 5 or 6 gallons of winterizer,
Yeah,
you know, and then most of it's just not doing anything,
right.
you know, so, yeah, that's, you just gotta make sure it's in all the joints, it's in all the spigots, and you've pushed the air out. That would have been the only thing, would have been push the air out first.
Push it, yeah. We
But-
didn't have
You didn't have it, and,
That's good to know for next time.
yeah,
Get a small compressor, blow it out.
yeah.
What's
yeah,
in there? What's in there?
I use my pancake, and it just blows it all out, and I open them one at a time, and it opens them all
That's
up.
all it takes.
And then I pump that in here to make sure I get the winterizer in throughout the whole thing, and then I just let it go for that. I haven't had a problem. Okay, we're 18 fields.
Okay, got a call again today from Deanne Slowly asking about that mill. Have that here.
Jeez, once it paid as fast as he came and did the work.
Well, not that, anyway.
Sorry.
It is,
I don't know if
it is now, at least made up to the Lakeville Parks Department instead of Dan Hopkins, so, I think we can pay it. Unless there's any questions about it.
So this was. So we're paying for the whole shebang to be redone after we already did it?
No.
Or is this the increase?
That's the increase, because the original estimate was for 60 feet of pipe and wire, and he ended up going to 300 feet. And also, he had originally quoted a 3/4 horsepower motor and a motor pump. And we usually use a 1.5 horsepower pump to push the system. And yeah, he should have known that. But
300 feet of surprise, isn't there water like?
it was water at 12 feet,
Right.
but we needed 40
So much
gallons
pressure.
per minute. So you have to go until you get that to happen. I would say, you know, it didn't, no, you not charge us for the 1-inch pipe that you put down and then pull back up. It's just, you know, 200 feet of 2-inch poly pipe, 200 feet of 12-2 twisted cable. You gotta put a heavy duty cable in there too, we had 14 gauge before. So, I don't know.
Any chance we can get anybody else to pay it?
What's the difference?
That's $2,300.
$2,300.
I don't know, take them, what do you think? The price wasn't good.
Well, as I'm saying, we're getting donations from clubs, right? Let me see that. Have a meeting, have a board meeting.
Okay, well, we heard about the other next thing I'm gonna talk about is Nelson Excavating.
Yeah.
Who's gonna do the parking lots and,
Yeah, I saw that in the notes.
Chris came out and met with us.
Earl?
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the whole subcommittee, yeah, and we have a estimate from Nelson Excavating that we, last meeting we approved, right? Did we sign that?
Yeah.
We signed it, right?
We approved it. We approved it.
Yeah. Where did it go, do you know? Oh, great. Okay, because I have it here.
Because I thought you were giving him the signed.
Okay,
Okay.
I have it. I will get this to them. I didn't know if it had to go through the town. Okay.
Do you want me to check?
I don't know. What do you think? Was that something in the town? It's not something that had to go to a bid or anything.
It was a sole prior,
So, prior to,
less than what the prior estimate was gonna be. I said it was less than what the guy with the bulldozer wanted to do it for.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's business.
What was your question about it?
So, whether I can sign it and just have, he was gonna probably start later on this week, so. Anyway, I'll find out about whether we can sign it or not. Chris at that time said that lacrosse would pay for it. And then,
For that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then,
Right, bring it to the board meeting.
they brought us
Which would be,
well, yeah.
it got rescheduled this
It got
this
rescheduled, yeah.
Thursday. No, it was last week, but it got rescheduled to this week.
No,
No, he came back with the same thing he said before, that the board didn't want to do it unless they were going to be assured of a certain amount of time.
There's two separate topics. One is any money that, different subject, any money that lacrosse wants to, that any club wants to donate to the parks, they can or can't. That, as a board, they decide to do that, right? You can donate $5 or whatever, right?
Well,
The second thing is lacrosse raised $10,000 for that field. So like legally, they have to donate some of it. That's what it was for, and it's all set
But
aside.
he's asking us for,
Regardless of if they use the fields or not. You raise money for something, you just be like,
I
yeah.
understand that the answer we got back was, without assurances of playing time, the answer was no.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, so we went ahead and,
You want to get it done this fall.
we have the money in our account so we can do it with, so we went ahead and approved it. Now, if they want to come back again, that's fine, but, you know how it is, we can't, they're not even done yet, we can't like say, okay, you're gonna have it from, Tuesday to Friday, every day, and it's
No,
just
no.
gonna be
I think it's less of, I'll bring it to the board with it, I think it's less about, game time is game time. There's only so many fields, so much playing time. It's not even a conflict with soccer, it's like Saturday, Sunday, night usually. So there's very few game conflicts.
yeah.
I think it's a matter of, and the ironic thing, regardless of what gets donated, it's even paying per person, right, so that gets everything, but I think it's just having adequate practice space. That's the biggest thing, right, having
Right.
2 or 3 fields. Because right now, they're like 2, literally 2 fields.
Based on what Chris said, we don't have enough space.
But if you,
Is
so put it this way, lacrosse pays for 2 things right now. It pays for nickels,
Right.
which is literally 2 fields. So every boys team, there's like 8 of them, play on 2 fields.
Yeah.
Not full fields, like one small, one big. So
Yeah.
figure it out. And the girls play on field 5. That's it. That's the entire practice space that the entire lacrosse organization uses for everything. So I think if we can figure out a way to find space for that.
Well, that's what they're for. I mean, we're building them for.
right, but it's not fair to soccer to have lacrosse practicing on those fields every day.
Correct.
And I mean, it's not written in stone, but the feeling amongst anyone that's been involved in it is the field 1, we'll call it, the one parallel to the road, is not going to be a practice field. It's going to be a game field. We want a nice game field.
Correct. But that also frees up practice space. Now the practice fields. Now the game fields for soccer can be used more for practice. It's not game fields anymore. These are not game fields.
There's still gonna be game fields, they have too many games to be playing.
On one
I think, I
They were
honestly
just
think
looking for, they were looking for a few games on Sunday, they weren't looking for a ton of games.
I think you can slice off some sort of a second field, it would work. That's not wrong.
Yeah, we were also part of the, when we met over there, we talked about what to do in the area that the tailings are piled now and also there's the boom.
Yeah.
And Ken came up with an idea that we're gonna put another practice field in there. Which
It's not
would be,
huge, but
yeah, half size or a third size.
Sure.
But it'd be a surface that we can grow some more grass on.
right now it's not irrigated, but I mean, that would be something we can do.
Yeah, I know, I talked to Mark about that.
They're pretty
Very expensive.
inexpensive.
Because it's a percent.
He could probably tie it off those two
Exactly.
last lines.
So what do you think the ballpark on that is?
What?
To do that field? To do that practice space?
It's just, it's kind of in steps. We've got to move all the tailings out of there.
Yeah.
Get them sprayed. And then this guy's gonna move the existing pile of loom back over towards the other pile so that it's not gonna get a mess.
Right.
Because that's the wettest spot
Yeah.
right there. That's kind of where the water's all flowing right now.
Yeah.
So he was gonna get the tailings out, spread them all throughout the whole parking lot that we needed it, move the loom over. I don't know, was he gonna come back and?
And get the irrigation, get the drainage going.
Right.
To make, because what's happening right now, it's all going down, gets to that one spot, the big puddle there. The end of that field is growing big, but you can't walk on it because it's so bushy. So we have to get the water flowing past it. So that's part of what he's gonna do.
You know, just swale or.
And then in the spring, he could bring in if we decide to do it, it would be the next normal step. He could bring in a screener and screen out the rest of that pile, mix it up with the good stuff that we have, and make a nice practice field there.
You know, be 100 by 100 or maybe a little more. And then we've got other spots where there's gonna be grass out there that, you know, we wanna move some of this loom. But the first thing is to get the tailings moved, pulled out of there, so that he can develop some type of drainage.
Right.
And go forward. So that's what this $4,000 or whatever is gonna do.
Got it. I think so.
That, yeah, like, I don't want to overstep or anything, but I think we can get into some sort of a cooperative arrangement here with soccer, whereas if those fields are going to be kept for nice game fields and stuff,
Yeah.
maybe we can work something out where we can get some practice field over here.
I think the way that lacrosse, I can speak for the girls side, but like,
I'm just throwing that out there.
here's what happens now, right? Lacrosse pays a huge amount of money to play at Nichols, which is the worst field I've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
And every year, and it's gonna happen again, it happened last year, Nichols is just like, oh yeah, you can't play here this year. So then they're scrambling. Like now, that's why the girls came here. It's like, I'm not dealing with that. Like A, it sucks there, and B, it's only a matter of time before they say you can't play here. And then it's like, well, what do? We don't know where to go. So it's in everyone's best interest that they try to find space here. And the amount of money that goes into Middleborough should be coming here, right?
Right.
It's a collaborative group, right? It's Middleborough Free Time Forum.
Right.
But
So we didn't feel, anyway, going back to,
so
maybe we didn't feel we could wait.
any creative space that we can find for
Right.
lacrosse or any group that doesn't infringe on other groups like soccer, you know, hey, we're not going to use this, what used to be a game field, right? Or what is still a game field. But if you can find places, I think that's what the point is. If there's creative space for 2 or 3 fields, not full fields, like half fields,
Right.
it will definitely work.
Right, so that's the whole name of the game. We're trying to do this collaboratively so that everybody.
You think we'll start getting some use of the field by the pond there that's just got one soccer net there?
There's no guarantees, the field down here by the pond, because if it rains,
No,
You can't-
we used it 2 years ago, and it was a great idea, but it gets so wet, it's like really muddy down there.
if it's dry, then you can play, so it's a crapshoot.
It's a good like warm-up
Can't really
space,
sit.
if you have teams
Yep.
playing those fields, they can go there and warm up, great.
Things come right through.
But not as like a dedicated field, because
Right, because you can't
it was
guarantee.
literally like, it's like almost surrounded by like water.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and if your season was a fall season, there'd be a much better
Right.
chance of being able to use it
Exactly.
because the spring patterns.
Yeah, first games are like March 31st.
Really like steam that way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
Anyway.
It's called remote.
So, I don't even know who to talk to about asking about that. Lorraine? Okay.
Start that.
All right. And she sent me over their W-9 information and insurance binder, which has already got our name on it, so,
Oh, great, perfect.
all right. That was it, just, do you have a discussion?
Here to send me the insurance certificate and the W-9, and I'll keep it aside till we have the invoice and everything.
10 minutes for budget review.
Yes.
Extend on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Should we?
can we table this and take a look at it, because
We can,
it's gonna
absolutely.
be,
So what
thank you for doing all this work, by the way.
What I'll do is in the 10 minutes that I've been allotted, is I'll just give you an overview of these 4 sheets, okay? It's the staple one there, Jesse?
Yeah.
That one there, okay, the first page, that's the revenues, and you can see we've got the last 4 years' actual expenditures, okay? The current budget we're in, and then the next column has the 4 months we've thus expended so far through October, okay? And then the column after that is what's available. Well, it says available because it was over the expenses and I just carried it over, but it's, you know, you can see like in the first line, you know, I mean, we budgeted 11.5, we received 6,200, and we're anticipating getting, you know, 5,200 in the first week of June, hopefully. So that's kind of how those columns work. So you can see we've received 114,000. If you go to page 2 and 3, page 3 has a total of what we've expensed so far. So we are, for the 4 months, we're 179, so yes, we have spent more than what we've taken in, but that includes the 75,000 that we just spent for the fields, okay? So it's kind of skewed, so if you pull that out, it's 104, we're actually above water.
I have one question here.
Yep.
First page, revenues.
Yep.
On the actuals, you've got other sources of retained earnings.
Yep.
You got 16, 17, 18,
Mhm.
and then is 19.
Well, it didn't get factored in. It didn't get used in 19. We didn't, because we didn't expend anything on a capital basis. So we didn't use the retained earnings.
Okay.
What's amazing is everything goes up. I'm sorry.
The money for the fields, where does that show up?
That shows up at the bottom, on page 3. I'm sorry, at the bottom, page 3. It got cut off. Otherwise, this would have been so small that you wouldn't have been able to read it.
Okay.
It's pretty small as it is. But you see, site improvements, 75 grand.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where that's showing up, because it just got paid.
Okay. So that's actually fiscal year 2020, then, right?
Well, actually, no, it came out of fiscal year 19, but I was matching up the reports
All right.
with income and expenses.
Okay.
So it was already taken out of our, in 19.
Okay.
Which-
So in the 2020 budget, you get 35,000 anticipated retained earnings, and in fact, we're going to have 124,000? Is that what this number down here is?
What number?
Well, this is your certified.
Oh, but I'll get to that after.
Okay.
That's another whole thing.
All right.
That's another whole thing. So, so you can just, if you had page 2 and page 3 and kind of put them together, tape them together, it would make a little more sense. But it is what it is. But it's just, I'm just showing you what we've spent so far, one third, and then the last column that you see printed is what's anticipated to be spent or anticipated to come in as revenue. If you look at it, the available column, the last column with the number in it, says available. If it's on the revenues, that's what's anticipated to come in. Okay? And then, on the expense side, the available number is what we have left to spend in the next, 8 months.
Why, the only thing that is a huge anomaly is the bar rental. Why is the bar rental at 10,000 left? Isn't that weird?
It is. And, we've been going over that, I've been meeting with, town hall and accountant. And, one of the things, I don't have the sheet with me, I left it with Maureen. Nellie recapped it for me. I don't want to explain this. Our books go from July 1st to June 30th.
Yeah.
Okay? SEM didn't come into November.
Okay.
Okay? So that period from July to November, if you look at the sheet, she's got it right here. See the glaring difference? Everything's in bar and nothing's in catering. Okay? So I think what happened is that prior number of 26,000 is higher than it should be.
Got it.
So, but it still is down, yes. It still is down, but not the 10,000. Because if you do look, the catering is also down a little bit. So some of the bar revenue of 26,000 from the prior year should actually be in catering.
Right.
So that 26,000 should be probably more around 20 or 21.
Yeah.
But yes, it is down to 16. And I've asked SEM for help with that, and they said, Nellie's got the information.
Got it.
So,
Because not people drinking less. It's not good.
no, so what I'm gonna need, Nellie, what I'm gonna need is, especially when we come up to, November is wrapping up soon,
Yeah.
is do this analysis, but do it from November 1.
Oh,
You
for
know what I'm
like
saying?
each
The
year?
period SEM's been in
Each
charge.
contract year sort of deal, November to November.
Yes, because these numbers are skewed. I mean, individually they're skewed, when you look at them overall, they're in the ballpark. So, and that was before SEM took over, so that was a combination of Mary Beth and Nikki working together with Nellie, and deposits came in. You gotta remember, prior to the way it is done now, when we received a deposit for a wedding, the deposit came to us, it got deposited in the bank. Payment number 1 came in, it got deposited, went in the bank. Payment number 2 came in, got deposited, went in the bank.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't the way it is now. When the function happens, we get the whole check.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's being done a little differently now, so it's taking time to work itself out.
Yeah.
You know, and if you look at this table, the whole current year, you see there's money in all 3 categories each month.
Yeah.
You know, where back here, it's skewed.
Right.
So what we really got to look at is November 1st
Right.
to November 1st, and the 2 years and compare those, and we're coming up at the end of year 2 right now, so that'll give us, I think, better numbers to look at. In comparing them to prior years, we've got to kind of take the whole thing and lump it together. And,
Okay.
so, but good point, and that was the first thing I saw, and I brought it up, and we were talking. So, not to go over my 10 minutes, and if you have any questions on anything here, just shoot me an email, text me, call me, and I can try to give you an explanation as to why some things, you may see numbers, you don't see numbers. And then the last page, page 4, it's a little, I apologize, if you kind of drew a line right down the middle like I just did here, that separates the 2 years, okay? I just drew a kind of a line down the middle. What I did was, the whole first section, the income section, I had to take 2 years to get that information because, you know, like the 2018 season has June in it, and then it has July, August in it. So I was going back and forth. But let's just go to 19, the columns on the right. You can see what happened in the month of June, and then you see what happened in July. Well, I call it September because some of the bills get paid a little late. Giving you the totals. So we had a total income of $41,460. And then the middle section, which is the payroll, okay, it's guards, maintenance, and supervisor, and FICA. That's all hard numbers right out of the general ledger. The bottom section, which is smaller dollars, I made some estimates. You know, like I took electric at $50 a week. You know, repair and maintenance. Some of the payments got put in different accounts, so I kind of had to pull them out. Some were in supplies, some were over here. So I kind of guesstimated some of these costs. Some of them were good numbers, like the rubbish. I was able to pull out the rubbish. The other contract is mainly the $40 a week for the water samples. The telephone, I took it right out of the telephone. I took the Verizon, the wireless bill. Supplies, again, were some reimbursement checks to Doug and some charges at Home Depot for, they bought wood and reconstructed one of the, 2 years ago they did, in 18, they built a new tower. Because one of the towers was rotted and the other one was small. The current year, they had to rebuild the deck on the dock, on the raft. So you see repairs and maintenance and supplies costs in both years, and that's what that is. The only numbers that are hard numbers are the park activity and the food service. This is a bone of contention with the town auditors because we have too much cash. So there will be parameters set up this year. So like the number for food service and the income for the concession stand, both accounts should go up because of the way this is being done. It can't be done that way anymore. Too much cash. I said, well, then you gotta help us out. So they were gonna get one of those little squares or something, or, you know, they can write a check, especially for the gate fees and the passes, shouldn't be a problem. But like I said, you get little Johnny over there with 50 cents, he wants to come up and buy some candy. You know, there's still gonna be cash, you know?
There's always gonna be cash, you're never gonna get rid of
I
that.
realize that, and I tried to impress
So don't
them.
you do like a cash deposit every day?
Well, but I think part of it was some of the cash was used to go out and buy supplies. No, and so that's gotta stop this year. So I said, well, if that's the case, then we've gotta provide them with either a PJ's card or a debit card or something. And the town accountant said they have a debit card. They have a debit card that we could use. So
Yeah,
to me that, you know, I mean, because I know they go and buy candy and stuff.
yes,
And most of the expenses I see are New England ice cream because they will do it on account.
yes.
I know they will, because I used to do it here.
Yeah, they're easy, so.
Right. So, that being said, you know, the reimbursement should go down and the cash expenditures of income should go down, should go up. So the income should go up, and food service expenses should go up, but that's just what we had. I mean, it should net, you know, I mean, it shouldn't be,
So I have one
Yeah, go
question.
ahead.
Both years,
yeah.
I'm looking at your net
Mm-hmm.
income and net expenses.
Yep.
And you got a loss, net loss.
Yep.
It doesn't add up. $56,000 expense,
Yep.
21 in.
I brought it wrong. The whole line doesn't, Mike. Do you see why? Do you see it?
No.
The net income line, I can see it right now, is equal to the operating expense line, 2 lines above. It was Excel. I was doing it at 6:15 tonight.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
Okay, so that should actually be like $14,725.
so you had 43 of income and 58. Yep, that should be about 15 grand loss on the first year, and about the same on the second year, roughly. It should be about $14,000 loss. So, that being said, we never figured in this whole bottom section, you know, operating expenses, when we were looking at budgeting the income. I mean, we more were concerned with the income and covering the payroll. But I mean, in reality, there's a lot of other things that come to fruition here that get expensive for the pond. And I think it's, more than anything, I think we need to come up with budget numbers and say, okay, this is what you can spend, you know? And you can't go over that, and you give them to Doug, and that's that. You did a good job with the payroll. Last year's payroll is one number is skewed. I will point that out so you understand. If you go to season 2008, and you come down to the middle section where it says maintenance, and if you go all the way over, you see it's a negative $3,000. And that's because we hired extra kids with the anticipation of moving them around, moving them here, John Pond, so that didn't work out. So we didn't do that this year. We just had one extra guy that kind of moved around.
Well, it's gonna mess up your numbers if we try to hold him to,
Right.
hold him to a budget,
Right.
and then we're saying, oh, you're gonna use your employees here, there, and
Right,
everywhere.
but, so that was the reason why, if you look at the budget for maintenance,
Yeah.
we upped the budget for maintenance, you know, appropriately. And those will be adjusted going forward because they signed a new, there's a new pay scale. So in doing this, I'll have to go by the pay scale for the payroll. But I just wanted to get something going. We're way ahead of the game. You know, this isn't like we get usually we're doing this in February and we're under the gun to get it done. Ours is more or less just a rubber stamp anyhow because our income equals our expenses. But like Justin said, we've got to kind of sharpen up the pencil and see where we can make some adjustments. You know, certain things are hard fast, you know, like the lodge fee. I mean, there's no moving that, you know. I think we'll be okay with the groundskeeping, like, for this year, groundskeeping supplies.
Yeah.
Because with the exception of 2018, we were in the $9,000 ballpark,
Yeah,
and the budget was 12.
yeah,
So we shouldn't be too bad there, because we get that 4,200 that's already spent. But what's gonna affect us and will increase it will be the new fields.
right.
You know, so I mean, it will go over a little bit, but there's nothing we can do about that. We're just gonna have to up the budget for 21. But anyhow, it's a start. As we get closer,
Yeah.
you know, when we get, you know, to 6 months, we can drop into 6-month numbers and it will look a little clearer because we'll have a couple months here where things are down, you know. Some of the income is up a little bit, like the hall rental is up because, you know, September and October were such good months. But December and January, through the tubes. But anyhow, take that, bring your hat, smoke it if you want. That's the budget review. I will bring my paperwork. Any outstanding things from the last meeting? I'm gonna bring it. I can't remember. I did talk to Nate. I had a couple of questions for him. His suggestion was to draft a memo that we could send to the selectmen to see if any movement is going to happen with the soccer parking lot. You know, so if you want to maybe just come up with something, you know, we can.
We have the plans.
Yeah, no, we have the plans, and yeah.
I don't think.
Huh?
Drainage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the police building committee has already signed off everything they've done. And they made it quite clear that they were gonna pay for that.
Right. The selectmen did a lot, a $30,000 number, but unfortunately, all the,
Is that still available?
it will close up in June. That's why Nate said, you know, you might want to send a memo to the selectmen, especially now that we have a new reorganized board. To add to that, Leah's been, I don't know if you saw that, Leah's been chairman. And,
Oh, I did.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
John's the vice chairman, I guess.
That's
So
interesting.
we have a new selectman with Richard Camera. So
They're gonna, when I saw that, they're gonna totally review that, right, the next meeting,
review
the election of who's where.
what they just did.
Oh, did I miss another meeting?
They did it right after the election.
The 25th, the next one, I think they said that it was temporary.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that. They didn't. No, whatever.
Well, let's hope they can get along.
Yeah. So they can play nice.
Yeah.
But I did talk to Nate about the silt fence that's out there. He said that can come down, so that's good. I talked to him about the drainage, of course.
Are they gonna take it down?
Yeah, Nate's gonna get it down. I'm gonna take it down.
To double fence?
The silt fence.
Well, I don't know if I
Plastic.
can like to do it. You still got a silt fence on the back too, for the turtle.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could probably be cleaned up.
Turtle land, yeah.
What else? There was a couple other things. God, none of those from memory. No, not good. Two out of four. We talked about the left side of our office and the voting material. They were in discussion about, we did get them out. Yeah.
I was waiting for correspondence.
Yep. And that they were talking about wanting to put a shed. 12 by 16 is bigger than the one we have there. Just keep adding buildings.
Better than having it where it is.
Oh, yeah, no, and then they can deal with it. I mean, and what this memo is I would like to respectfully request the park commission vote to approve a shed 12 by 16 placed next to the existing shed on the building that stores our electric equipment. Funding for the new shed will be responsibility of the building commissioner as well as the aesthetics of the new shed declining the current surroundings. And she goes on to talk about what they have for equipment and what they will possibly be needing more for a fourth precinct in 2021.
So that's why they want to make it bigger. Because they don't have that much square feet right now in the room.
No,
So I looked over there. There is room next to the shed.
but there's a window there too.
Yeah. That's real good over there, yeah.
It's the only window on that side of the building.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't think we want to block it.
Okay. So then, what's the plan? So put a sign or?
Well, I mean, either there or behind it. The problem going behind it is you've got water lines and power lines and wires and all kinds of things in the back, and you've got a septic tank and a well, and creates a lot of problems on the backside. I mean, ideally, that would be the place to put it. If we're going to allow them to put one there.
When is the, what kind of timeline are we looking at? When are they planning on doing it?
As soon as possible. I mean, 16 might fit, because our shed is 12 by 12, 10 by 10.
Right, so I'm assuming that it's gonna be side by side 12. This one's gonna come out 4 feet longer, right?
Or make it go 4 feet wider. So it would come out the same distance as the current one we have.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have one with a peak going this way and one with a peak going that way. You know what I'm saying? Because
They could make it the same way.
See, you got a 12 by 12, right? It's there now, the peak looks like this. Right? Here's a building. If you put in a 12 by 16 and put it this way, the peak is gonna be that way. Following? It's a shed, they don't make a shed that is 16, let's say made it by hand, I
Well,
guess.
ours was constructed by hand.
Yeah. So I guess they could do could be very low, well, you gotta start with 8 on it.
Yeah.
A low pitch on it, but a little better if you did two, if you had that.
That's what, oh, no, I agree.
I think.
So that line is the office building, so?
Right.
That's gonna be, yeah.
So it's,
You're saying-
and there's a window right in the middle.
Right there.
Well, it's just to the left of our building.
So over here.
It's right there.
Oh,
That's why I'm saying that 16 might fit.
okay. You should go measure it,
Yeah.
but not today anyway.
No, not today, right. 12 by 16 is probably a little overkill.
Well, they're not taking up anywhere near that amount in where they are.
No.
So,
They're just trying to take more of our land.
Actually, the roof is this way.
Oh, it is, okay. So that, they made, because it's 12 by 12. Yeah, all right. I could have sworn it was the other way. I'm wrong.
You know, and
I see what you're saying, now you get that picture of where the window is.
yeah, you know, we'd have to take out the end bush, but that's not a big problem, those bushes are pretty scratchy anyhow.
Oh,
You know, it might be able to fit right up against them, you know.
I think the thing is to talk to Nate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because, you know, put around, they're saying about putting around behind spot is gonna be dark. You gotta be
Oh,
looking-
in the back,
Yeah.
there's too much stuff back there.
Yeah,
There's the well, there's the wires that go out to the pump, there's the water that comes in. I mean, that's what I'm saying, that wouldn't be a good spot, is what I was trying to say. So that leaves the other side, or here.
right. And they are gonna be unloading stuff. you know.
Right. Actually, Linda came up with a great idea. She said, why don't you buy a nice trailer? I thought that was a good idea.
Like a temporary trailer for 20 years.
Yeah. So,
Storage container.
they're asking for 12 by 16. If the 12 by 16, my feeling is the 12 by 16 will fit without blocking the window. If not, scale it to 12 by 14 or
Yeah, whatever fits.
Well, was any kind of research done on what square footage they need? Is that where they came up with 12 by 16?
I have no idea.
No, you just go off of what they do today. Right?
I
Whatever
mean,
the space they have today is apparently enough. So I think.
Well,
They said they want to expand to 4th precinct.
which means another one of those big boxes.
How can you have 4 precincts in one voting place?
I thought they had to be close to the precinct. But maybe I'm wrong.
There's a 4th precinct go down.
I don't know, what did we add land?
They're adding one.
It's population.
Okay.
Population. That's my population.
Oh,
With all the new building in town, it'll soon be over the 12,000, I guess, is, we'll put it into a 4th precinct, I guess, I'm not sure. That was the number I thought I heard someone say. I could be wrong.
Okay.
So, do we want to make a decision now, or do we want to wait and talk to Nate and see what
More
fits over there?
information.
Okay. So we need to make a motion to table this for now and get more information and give it a better decision.
Make a motion to table the request for a shed until we talk to Nate.
Okay,
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay,
Do we want to try to bring it to a meeting?
we could, but I think what we want to do is talk to them and go walk out here and take measurements and, I mean, is it 12 by 16 overkill or, you know, would something else work? I mean, if it's only 14 feet, would the 12 by 14 work? mean, I know 12 by 16 is a better number, but. Okay, any other old outstanding items anybody can think of? I can't think of other things.
More detail, backwards and get nicely.
Yeah, those little things like everyone says, hey, I'll do this, we
Yeah.
can do that, so we can just follow up on them.
Exactly.
I got something, when they had the, at Dick Van Deren Park, they had the Music and Art Festival. We were wondering how they got permission, because they never came here. Like, I talked to them, the selectmen gave them permission for that park. So, just so you're aware, the selectmen does that.
They always have. They'll come to us to ask us to use it.
Well, in all fairness, we've never really had anything to do with that park.
Nope.
I guess that's, no way the other one down again, down the road, right?
Correct. I think a couple of years we mowed it way back when, and then went to the highway department, and so we really, like Mike says, we really had nothing to do with it. Other than it does fall under our, actually, no, just Dick Van 4.
Yeah.
But not the one at the bottom.
No, not the Highland Road one.
No. One time it was.
Yep, at one time.
Yeah, I thought it was listed on the website that that one was one of
It was
those.
fine.
No, it's just that it Dick Drive.
That's okay, we're busy enough for this.
I know, I'm not looking for it.
Absolutely.
Middle Genie report,
Who said
new business,
Somebody said that to me. Who said that to me?
possible work needed.
Is that you?
Oh, no, that was me.
Oh, great.
The other day, when I was pulling through, I saw a white truck with state plates on it down by the haunted house. I'm trying to figure out, but it was raining, so I wasn't gonna go traipsing down there. And I think you told me that it was Yuki, because I think you talked about
Middle gas.
Middleborough Gas Electric. The next day, they came back and were talking to Mike, and I guess the wire's down. So their question was, did they want us to have them fix it now, or can it wait till spring? I said, we had a meeting on Monday and we'll make a decision, but I said, I don't know why we need to have it.
I'll wait till spring.
If they want to wait till spring,
Something laid on the ground live or anything, right?
they were down there, so I'm sure if there was anything, they shut it off, or
Yeah.
I guess we can find out about that.
They wouldn't make a live wire.
I can't imagine they leave a lot of wire.
I'll talk to Mr. Hinckley tomorrow.
Okay. And I mean, I was like, geez, I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me, I mean, we're not using the place, He goes, and Mike's comment was, well, if there's no live wire, there's one less reason why it would burn. And I don't, well. So, that being said,
Speaking of the haunted house, did I hear something that Glenn got back to us asking?
That's the second one.
we're gonna, yeah. So I think we need to just make a decision, do we want to have them fix it now or later?
Well, let me call him.
Okay.
We'll table it and I'll call
How about giving Mike the option if you,
him. Yeah, if it's dangerous,
yeah.
it's not gonna cost us anything.
No, it's not gonna cost us anything. And if they get some good days, they can come out and do it now, and if not, they can wait till spring. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, just make this.
Whatever works for them, how's that?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And go to the Clear Pond Park, use requests update.
Yes, so,
I thought this was a done deal.
no.
This is like more than.
You're gonna make me vote against it again?
No. There is no voting required at this point in time. It's really just reviewing what's going on. So they've come back with a couple of dates in December, as long as the weather holds out there. They would like to, while it's cold, it's not a big deal to them. A Sunday or a Monday, they're looking for either the 1st or 2nd of December or December 8th or 9th. If that doesn't work out, they are happy to wait till spring. And I remember them when we opened, so that way they can try to fit in. So now I have, and I'm sorry, I meant to print this out for you, I completely forgot. So I'm gonna email it to everybody. It's the waiver and an actual request form for use of the area.
What's it, Jesse?
Just give it to Jesse? Okay, yeah, just for edits, because I'm gonna just have to edit.
Yeah.
I have to edit that it says Clear Pond. I have to edit that it's a park commissioner, not for a selectman that's signing the approved request, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jesse, you can take care of that, right? Yeah. Good.
All right, so I'm gonna send it to Jesse. I already,
One person's fine.
just leave it at that?
Yeah,
Okay,
because
great.
he's gonna be the contact person to get
Yes.
in there, and if you're not gonna be around, just let me know. I mean, I can go and watch it, I mean, it's not a big deal, but.
The only other question he asked was, is there a cap of a maximum amount of people that the park commission wants to?
0.
What?
Well, what's the cap for our normal thing? It's the same cap.
I don't know, 100 people, I mean, you get 100 people on the beach, no one's gonna have a square this big,
Right.
you
They're
know?
not gonna have much space to do their.
Originally, they had a number, like 6.
Yeah, they had.
100.
I mean, it's a big park.
You know, I can go down too a little bit.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, what did he say? Hold on. Give me a second. I know, I'm sorry. Okay, so he was saying he didn't think there'd be more than like 10 people.
So let's say 30.
So what he was
Pick a
saying
number,
is
30.
if they get the event going and more people start showing interest, like what's the cap?
50.
50?
It's not showing interest, I thought they asked about one time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this event.
Oh, okay.
Just the one event, Mike, it's open just once, just once.
Let's just
max 50.
What's better?
50, if they get 50 then. We'll see what happens.
All right, max 50.
50 first person will be upset.
All right, so max 50, and then I'll have Jesse handle everything else.
Yeah,
So Mike doesn't have to think about it.
okay, haunted house, 30-day notice.
Okay, so I did send out the 30-day notice.
We got a response.
We did get a response. Let me bring that right up for you.
By the way, just a note.
Yes.
Follow people, I'm sure there's like 2 weeks between when you sent it and when you responded. So 30 days, half the time is,
Yeah, well, that's not our fault.
I understand.
Yeah,
So
It's not a lot of time, it's like we wasted 2 weeks, it's fine.
yeah, I sent it on November 5th and said the 30-day period would expire on December 5th. And he got it back to me on the 13th,
Okay. Okay.
asking if they can have longer than 30 days. It's going to be impossible to remove everything with such short notice. So I said, I bring it back, do you have an estimate so I can provide that? His response was that he spoke with Scott last week and talked about passing it over to another group.
he talked to me last week.
But if they want it permanently closed, we are requesting to have at least until the spring to get everything out.
So my experience in these things,
Are they gonna clean up the outside too? I think that's,
so the way that I look at it, like sometimes for work purposes, let's say I have to set a deadline for something, let's say I'm okay with somebody doing it for something for 6 months. So let's say, yeah, 6 months, I don't do anything for 5 months,
right.
3 weeks, and then like, oh, I gotta do that. So for me, the best way to do this is you make it really tight deadlines, but just keep, yeah, we'll extend it, it's fine. But they're always constantly thinking about doing it now.
Yeah,
If you say spring, nothing's happening for
nothing.
So what's the point,
No, I agree with you.
right?
So Joe's suggestion was to request a plan for what they plan to do along with the completion date, so it can be reviewed and approved.
What's the alternative? Like, let's say they just don't do anything. We get rid
Where's
of
it
it.
go?
Caution.
Oh, okay. We get town truck and we throw it all out.
No,
Okay.
contact the fire department, have them come take care of it.
Okay. No, that's fine, I'm just kidding.
Oh, at this point, we can't even get into the building to see what kind of, what condition the
Yes.
building is in. Well, not through the roof.
Just cut the lock.
Yeah, well, okay. Then we should be doing that.
Well, we're supposed to be
We
giving them
would,
30
we will.
days notice.
Right.
So give them an additional 30 days,
I think it's fine.
I would say.
It's a lot, that's.
So we're extending it to
But-
January
But
5th.
what are our expectations? Are we expecting them to clean up the outside also?
Well, isn't that What we're talking about?
No, they're talking about just going in and taking out their stuff.
The stuff that they want to keep, they're gonna leave everything they don't want.
Right. They're gonna leave all the junk.
Okay.
So I think,
Whether they come or not, we're still gonna end up.
Exactly.
cleaning up.
but I think if we give them an extension, I think we need to request that they clean up and not leave.
Yeah. Or the beverages and stuff in that place.
I mean, it took Mike and I almost a half an hour just to walk around the building
Yeah.
because there was so much stuff that we had to climb over and through and around.
Again, I think it's a good point, like if we give them an extension until, we can make it February, right, or whatever. A little longer, but.
Well, let's
with
keep
the
in
condition.
mind weather conditions at this point in time.
So, well, here's the question, are we gonna expect that they're gonna get a dumpster, bring it down here, fill it, and get their stuff out?
Well, I think we need to put in writing what we expect them to do.
Can we get the dumpster and have them fill it?
I was just thinking that. What if we?
They're not buying anything, like, let's be honest, like, they're not spending a dime on this,
They don't have any money, so
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you get the dumpster there and say, you gotta clean it up and get your stuff out.
I didn't understand the question of whether it was a final thing or, you said he asked whether it was,
Well, then, what he's saying is, well, maybe somebody's gonna take it over, which is.
Yeah, he
not
said
a
that
problem.
he talked to Scott saying that,
well,
they might, about someone else coming in. So, hold on. I talked to Scott last week and we talked about it passing over to another group.
Can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion? Whoever takes this over, if anybody ever does, can we just set a thing that says, you're not keeping this stuff here? Is that unreasonable? I mean, it's a lot of stuff, but the fact that it's stored here is part of the problem, right?
well, that's one reason why we can legitimize the $12,000 rental, because they have storage for the whole year.
Yeah, because it's basically per month.
But it's not, well, I guess it's just a donation, right?
It's a donation back to the parks, yes.
Yeah, but, okay, got it.
Yes, for the use of the property.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing what he's saying is that if they have to remove the items, it'll permanently close. So, but if they want it permanently closed, we are requesting to have at least until the spring to get everything out.
Well, no one's come to us requesting permission to run the haunted house next year.
If we were a storage company, stuff would be gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And that's the agreement, is that we're basically a
But
storage.
then we'd be paying for it. I mean, we don't have the extra money to be getting dumpster after dumpster after dumpster and hiring people to come down here and clean
No, I
up.
totally get it, I'm just saying,
That's all.
if you're storing stuff in a place and you go, like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have a business, like, I don't care, like, this is out of here, like.
well, that was the whole idea of the 30-day notice.
Right,
By law, you've got to give the notice
right.
to get this stuff.
So we can extend it 30 days.
But I think we need to come up with a parameter of what we're expecting them to do.
What do you think is
I
reasonable to do?
mean, the thing is, if we rent a dumpster, you only have a time limit on the dumpster. It can't sit there for 2 months, and we're gonna be paying through the nose for it.
But the dumpster can be the same amount of time that we give them notice for. Then worst case, we fill it and get it out of there, right? I don't know. They're not gonna-
I
they're not
don't
gonna buy it.
know if the dumpster,
I know that-
the 30-yard dumpster at this time of year is probably not going to be a problem to sit there for a month, because they're not in high demand. To talk to, or call phrase or whatever, and ask them, but that would be,
Yeah,
yeah, they have a small one, so that's a 10-yard or 15-yard. We talked to John, I'd love to get him into the business.
Yeah, no,
I mean, really, what we're really talking about is our willingness to clean this up because it's so dangerous, right? That's why we care.
Well,
Which
yeah.
is a good reason.
All right, so that's what Nate's concern is, to get, the danger part of it too.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's part of the price of doing business quite often.
And I would like to point out also that even if somebody does take it over next year, it's very likely that the triple E crisis is going to be back.
yeah.
And if they had it this year, they wouldn't get what they would have.
No, we would have had to,
Right,
we would have had to stop it.
right. Could have done all that work.
Right, because they do the work in May, June, July. They do a big bulk of the work
Yeah,
in the summertime.
yeah.
So my feeling really is just to get it out of it, let them get what they want to keep, get the rest of it out of there, clean it out, and if somebody wants to come back and start fresh,
Yep.
we can talk with them about it at that point.
Yep.
But
Renegotiate what
it's
they
just so
store.
much, there's so much, it's just like,
Oh, no.
it's just like fabric
There's
everywhere.
couches and
Pianos
chairs.
and bathtubs and it's just, it's
We walked
ridiculous.
around, it was just
And wood, rotten wood.
all this old, somebody's old picket fence that they brought down there and, used. And there's tons of that.
Right.
It's tons of picket fence.
So yeah, let's give them 30 days and then under the condition that they fill the dumpster that's gonna be there, and see what happens. I don't know. How much do you think a dumpster would cost? 30, would you say 30 yards?
Well, 30 yards is gonna run about, we just did one for.
You're doing for John Pond?
$200.
No, more than that, it's like 400, 450.
Yeah, it's a lot. But here's the way I look at it, we're gonna have to pay for that no matter what. Whether we do it now or in the spring, or they help us, they don't help us, we're paying for a dumpster, right? Is that fair to say? They're definitely not paying for dumpster.
They're gonna say they don't have money.
Right.
It doesn't list if it was a 30 yard, but the one we did, where we just dropped it off and then moved it, it was $220 in total.
How big is that one?
It doesn't say.
So I guess the question is, do we pay, if we do it now, under the there has to be a dumpster there, like if I'm them, and I'm
Oh,
like,
I understand what you're saying, I understand what you're saying.
Or
It was a
we
10
just,
yard.
Yeah, so yeah, that sounds right.
or the flip is we just cut the lock off and switch the lock and then deal with it another time, right? Whatever we want.
Is that whole building, I don't think I've never even been in there, is it built full of like costumes and?
Yeah, they have
props?
storage.
Okay.
And they're not supposed to be doing that. And that's what I think 2 or 3 of the, because it's a plus sign with the bathroom in the middle. So I think the right side is trashed. That's where the coaches, I think that's junk. But I know that they did have storage in the first section you go in is like where they have all their, they have tables and people sign in and they have stuff and extension cords and stuff like that. But I think the other two are storage for, could be costumes or get-ups or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what's in there. It's been a long time since I've been in there, but I don't know.
Well, once again, to the question, do we want to give them additional time?
I think it's fair to give, like personally, I think giving them another 30 days is somewhat reasonable since they responded, but not whatever we want. Spring, it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
But then the question is, what do we expect them to do other than take their stuff? I don't expect a lot, but if we can make it easy, I don't know.
Yeah, we can put a dumpster down there. Ask them to fill it up.
We would also want that dumpster if we're not gonna do it, right? Or they're not gonna do it.
Correct.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna get their stuff and leave. They're being empty dumpsters.
That's what I'm afraid. There's gonna be an empty dumpster and either we're gonna have to go down and do it or we're gonna pay for an empty dumpster.
So why don't we just do 30 days?
Yeah.
30
Then
extra days.
we'll switch the lock.
It's not, it's 30 days.
Right.
By law, we're required to give you 30 days. We're gonna have to clean this mess up ourselves anyway. We might as well get going on it.
The more, we don't really have any leverage because they don't really, all they care about is the stuff in there, they're not gonna, they don't wanna be next to it, they don't wanna send money, you know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna do anything other than what they have to do. So, yeah, so the difference of 30 and 60, there's no difference.
I mean, we can put it, we can say, hey, if we bring a dumpster down here, will you throw stuff out? And we can lead to that. But, the holidays coming up, people aren't gonna want to spend the holidays down there.
Yeah. So
Clean
you
up.
gotta give it the next 30 days, that's January 5th.
Yeah. Right.
Christmas.
Right. We get Christmas and New Year's and
Wait, what's the date on it? December 5th?
Yes,
Yeah,
for
it's
this one,
sensitive.
yes, for the first notice.
Not much is gonna get done between now and Christmas. So, what do you guys want to do?
So have you been in contact with him?
No, this was 2 months ago, not last week. I don't know what he's saying. It was 2 months ago when I talked to him.
So,
And he said, oh, we might have somebody that wants to do it. And I'm like, oh,
well, I mean, okay, let's say we extend it to the first of the year, right? So that's slightly less than 1 month. I know it's the holidays, but that's up to them. It's no difference to us, right? No, but like,
Holidays, folks.
no, but it's like, my point is, like, if we can't work, like, either, what we're saying is either do it now or do it between now and the holidays, but it's different. It's not really an extension. I said we just pick a date and ask them if they'll do it, and they'll say whatever, and then we just react to it from there.
If we were gonna work on it, we wouldn't be doing anything in the winter, would we? So why would, I don't know, why we would rush them before that? We're not gonna do anything anymore.
It's just the safety of that. I think the other thing too is if we say, yeah, fine, it's spring,
They won't.
I know.
We're gonna just fight in April.
I agree with you. They're not,
if they're responding and they think that it's a real thing, then we should just get them done. The whole thing is to get them to move on. That's my feeling. So the more time you give them, the less likely they're going to
Give it another 30 days. If they need more time, we can talk about possibly extending it.
Tell them we're changing the lock on January 5th.
Yeah.
Is that a weekend?
Let's see.
No, I don't think so.
All right, it's getting late.
It is a Sunday. Shall we give them
January
until
6th.
6th the Monday?
We'll give them, we're changing the lock January 6th.
The 5th, 30 days.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah, so.
Probably gonna do it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, the 4th would be.
Good with me.
All right, so extend it 30.
Extend it an extra 30 days to January
And we
5th.
also asked them if they'd be willing to, if we got a dumpster down there, would they be willing to clean the junk outside? See what they say.
Inside, outside, whichever.
They're gonna say
Just
yes,
the area.
and whether they do it or not, that's next story.
Anything from the clerk? Any other new business?
Keep the Knox box.
What's a Knox box?
That's the fire department box.
Little box.
What do they call it, Knox?
It's just, I think that's the company.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought it was a lock box, and we were just hearing it wrong.
It is a lock box.
Instructed,
Yeah, well,
that
not
it's
box, I
a
think
Knox
that's
box.
the company that makes it, or made original.
Yeah, something like
It's in the
label. Sorry.
yeah, there's,
Okay.
there's about a dozen of them.
Oh,
Did you ask not to put it on the front of the building?
it should be on the side. I haven't looked, I haven't gone to the building, but it should be on this side, by this door. Okay.
It's just a little brick box.
Okay.
This little,
It's a lot.
this little box.
There's no that.
I know.
Yeah. It's a lot. Anything else?
Nope.
We'll put it forward with just a key.
Yep, that's it. And then everything's all set for that when we come to review.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is that it? Anything else?
Yeah, so
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'm on the next meeting.
Oh, sorry.
Second? Second?
sure. 6:30?
I might be away, but I'll see if I can make it. I know, it's my busy season.
You and Joe like tag team.
Yeah, I don't, what does Joe do? Say that he sales?
No.
Well, that's a good reason to have a 5-person committee.
All right.
Second, right?
we're looking at it, just. Right, so we go to the second, we have the 16th, we could probably jump 3 weeks from there. To the 6th, so we skip over,
Yeah.
The holidays,
skip over
that's
Christmas.
reasonable.
Christmas Eve.
16th, 6th.
So if we do, you know, do the 16th, and then jump to the 6th.
Go into January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schedule now.
I mean, it doesn't, I'm not gonna be here, but you guys can do it. No, I'm going to Florida.
Which one, page state?
I'm going the 24th and the 2nd.
Of,
January, December, January.
Wait,
you'll
you'd
be,
be here,
you'll be here for the next meeting.
I'll be here for the 16th,
and then you'd be
Second.
here for the sixth.
the 2nd.
Because he may not be here for the second.
Yeah, I'll be here for the 2nd and the 16th.
Right, and then you'll be.
And then
the
if
6th.
we do, I'm just saying, if we skip over the holidays, it'll work out good because I won't be back till the 2nd.
Oh,
anyhow.
okay, I see.
Not that I, you know, I mean, you can do without me, I mean,
Do we want to schedule the 2nd and the 16th right after that, as we've done previously, where we've scheduled a couple of meetings?
sure, you can do that.
I just haven't already set them on the calendar.
Yeah, you can do that. What calendar? It's not on the website calendar, it's on the town website calendar.
It goes up only when they get the posting.
I read the one online, I've never seen it. There's nothing on the Parks Department calendar.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion we adjourn
Yeah, sorry.
at 8:47.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. 8:47 it is.